What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin, and that was the article I wanted to talk about. I'm going to quickly get it done. Try to be as brief as I can. The article was Charles Oakley. It was done by ESPN, and no, I didn't go to ESPN looking for it. It was an article I saw on Twitter. I'm just now getting around to talking about it. Haven't had time, but I want to give my opinion on some of the things Charles Oakley said, which he didn't say much. And I won't say everything he said. I'm gonna have the article um, down in the description box of exactly everything that he said. Pretty brief, and pretty much what he was talking about is he said the NBA was hard to watch. That's essentially the title of the article. He said the NBA was hard, difficult to watch, and he also said players, they play the game, but they don't play with their heart. And I'm assuming what he means is guys don't give 110%, when they play. They just go through the motions of, yeah, I'm making millions, I'm playing. That's what I'm assuming he's, saying. He's saying the guy don't have the same passion as he once did. And when you talk to old school players, a lot of times they're gonna be more so biased towards um, their era of basketball. You ask a guy like Kareem about different eras, he's gonna talk about his as being the best. You ask Magic, he's gonna say the '80s. You ask Jordan, '80s and '90s. And more so, players today they will probably say a later era just for PR. Um, a lot of them want to sound, intelligent or whatnot, and they don't want people on their back. So they're just going to talk about an older era. Although they, of course, want to talk about the era they're playing in. Why would you want to talk badly about the era you're playing in? You didn't play in their era, so you watched them play, but you didn't play. So he does mention the Bobcats team he was assistant coach for 2010-2011 season. They weren't that good. That's when they were called the Bobcats. They weren't that good. So he couldn't be referring to a talent, just by looking at that team from an entirety of the NBA because that team was terrible. You had a lot, 2010, 2011, you had a lot of talented players that were in the NBA. You had guys that were coming to the NBA with a bunch of talent. So to me, it's not necessarily talent. It's and surprisingly, he didn't talk about that. It's officiating, which I have a problem with. Is the way the game is called, the rules changes, hand checking, flagrant fouls, which was instituted in the early '90s, but it's being enforced definitely a lot more with guys being thrown out of games for flagrant fouls that aren't flagrant fouls, they're just hard fouls. But it's the way a player goes down. He's in the air. A guy, you know, goes for the ball, hits his arm, guy goes to the ground really hard, and they hit him with a flagrant two, throw him out the game. You see that happen quite often, and to me, that's one of the problems. And then that player, especially nowadays with the way people uh, overreact to to just about everything. The person gets called dirty, he gets fined, of course, by the NBA, probably suspended, depending on how malicious it looked. So there's a lot of things that has been changed. As I said, hand check in 2004, that ended up getting changed, and it even says in the rule book to open up the game. Um, and everyone knows about this. I'm talking about things that have already been talked about. But I think in relation to this article, um, you know, he talks, and he's obviously referring to his era because it's the era he played in. His era, it was more physical. Guys that came into the paint, you either got your shot blocked. If you did make it, oh well, or you got fouled. Chances are not you either. It was more likely you were either going to get fouled or your shot was going to get blocked. And he misses, could say necessarily misses that he doesn't see that intimidation factor anymore. And that was a big part of his era of basketball because he was a guy known as an enforcer. You don't really have those nowadays because reasons I already said, the flagrant fouls and whatnot. You don't really have those. He he speaks of a guy who wasn't, he was an enforcer, and he played 110%. You go back and watch those games, the guy played 110%. And you can understand there are guys that don't give 110%, but there are plenty of guys that do. So I don't see it necessarily an effort because even you can go look back then. There were guys back then that didn't give a bunch of effort. I would say more guys back then gave effort than guys today gave effort. That's not to say guys today, from a majority standpoint, don't give effort. And I don't think he was taking. Although the article sounds like he's taking shots at the talent of the players, because definitely it's not that. That is definitely not a problem with the game. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, John Wall, James Harden. Talents there, some exciting guys to watch, and they make the game interesting. Now, if you were referring to the early 2000s, it was pretty bad. Talent wasn't a bunch of talent. You had these teams that just completely ran over just about every other team. So I will say if you're referring to the 2000s, it wasn't that good. But if you're talking about now, there is a bunch of talent out there. The game is definitely more exciting to watch. Is it as exciting as it was in his era? No, but I grew up in that era, so I'm used to watching those games. And to me, what stands out, as I said earlier in this video, officiating. Um, and then some of the players' mindsets because of the officiating. So if the officiating wasn't the way it was, these guys wouldn't play, or wouldn't try to work the refs. James Harden is a perfect example. He shoots a lot of free throws, and a lot of times it's from flopping. A lot of guys have been flopping. Even Westbrook recently has been told about his flopping. He's actually been given a warning about his flopping. They're probably not going to do anything. He's a star player. But, officiating is part of that. And this guys trying to work the refs, get extra points. Though games are decided a lot. Many games are decided by 1 or 2 points. So trying to get those extra free throws, trying to work the refs, it's part of the game. It's part of the game now. And basketball has become a finesse game, as I said. Hand checking, open up the game. No hard fouls. A lot of guys, you'll see many times where a guy drives to the basket, big man moves out the way, players move out the way, or he blows by a guy because he couldn't push him around. And guys are way too fast. Even back then, guys are way too fast. But there was hand checking. So all in all, it's to me not a talent problem. It's a officials problem. It's the NBA and them trying to open up the game, make the game more exciting. More points, more high flying dunks, more highlights. Highlights definitely make them a lot of money. So which increases merchandise sales and whatnot. I think it's more about that to them, and to me, it's affected the game to a degree, but the games are still exciting to watch. You can't sit there and say they're not. So I agree with him in the sense that yes, the game isn't as physical as it once was, and to me, he didn't mention officials, but I'm adding that to it. It's definitely an officiating problem. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. What do you think about today's game in comparison to how it used to be played? Are the games that still exciting to you? And they're still exciting to me. Definitely some big what Westbrook's been doing, what LeBron's been doing. Some of the games these guys are putting on. Surprise teams, Atlanta Hawks. I apologize. Memphis Grizzlies. So you got a lot of exciting things going on. So let me know what you think down in the comment section about this article and what I said. Of course, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.